video part, so we had to go ahead and resync things. But anyway, yeah, we really would appreciate your support by calling 713-526-5738, extension number one. Extension number one, 713-526-5738, extension one. As Howard said, we hate doing this. We're going to start with the program in a little bit, but we hate doing this. So what I'd like to say is, if you would call us now, and $5 a month, $10 a month, a one-time contribution, whatever you choose to do, we would be more than indebted to you, and the station would much appreciate. So, anyhow, go ahead and tell us what we have to offer, please, my brother Howard.
Well, you caught me off guard. Jack, do you
Oh,
have that? Do you have? Okay, well, one of the things we have to offer while Jack is getting the list is the $120 donation for KPOT's Caroline coffee beans plus the Caroline coffee mug. This is really a cool mug. If you like coffee mugs, and I do, I've got a whole collection of those things of all kinds of stuff. And it's just a cool mug. It's got the building there. It's got our palm tree out front, which some of the board members would like to get rid of, but I don't want to get rid of it because I like the palm. You know, I'll be out there defending it. I'll just tie myself to the palm tree and say, you ain't coming here near this thing." The cool thing about this is Lola Savannah coffee. Now, if you know anything about coffee, you know that Lola Savannah is the good stuff, and it's got our little logo printed on the bag for KPFT. And Jack, what do you got here with your list? Oh, yeah, turn your mic on.
The Heights Theater is offering a whole lot of concerts. Uh, the Third Mind featuring Dave Alvin. Two pair of gallery uh, s- uh, general admission seats for $150 pledge. Squirrel Nut Zippers, 2 nights,
wow.
two
Sounds like
nights. Yeah, a pair of reserved gallery tickets for $150 pledge, and two pairs of general admission street, and that's March 22nd. So that's just two sets of seats. Uncle Lucius, two pairs of general admission seats for $120 pledge. The Secret Sisters, one pair of reserved gallery tickets at a $150 pledge, and two pair of general admissions for a $100 pledge. Get this one, Ricky Lee Jones. Ricky Lee Jones. One pair of reserved gallery seats for a $180 pledge, and then two pair of general admission seats for $120. Spiral Gyra, jazz, crazy jazz.
Oh no, Harry's gonna like that.
Here you go, Harry. One pair of gallery tickets for a $180 pledge, Harry.
Yeah, that's specifically targeted to
Yeah,
you, Harry.
we're targeting you now.
putting Harry on the spot.
Yes.
He puts us on the spot a lot. I talked to him on the business line yesterday, and we were going down everything that he said on you talk and everything that he said on your show. And well, first of all, I've already heard it because I was listening to the radio. But that, but
That's
thank you,
our
Harry. We love you.
we we definitely love Harry. But anyway, folks, so please give us a call, 713-526-5738. And don't forget, Coffee with Egberto, $250. Or a coffee a month, guys. A coffee a month, 713-526-5738. But anyway, let's go ahead, and Neil is back with us. We had some technical problems. We were able to do, like I said, those guys in the studios are geniuses, Jack and Howard, because while I had to do some rebooting and everything else, the
Oh,
show went on. Anyway, what's up, Neil? What you got for us today?
well, maybe not altogether fixed.
Well,
Where's Neil?
yeah, Neil is supposed to be there, but I can't hear Neil either. So, I mean, I am not sure why we can't hear Neil, but we are going to rejiggle Neil Aquino, and I think I can see one of the reasons that we can't hear him. So, Neil, are you with us now?
You sound like a Sprint commercial. Can you hear me now?
I know I sound like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? But I see his mouth moving, but I can't see him. And I'm looking at all our control systems here, and all our control says that we can understand why he's not coming over. Neil, let's see if you can talk now. Let's see. Uh, for some reason,
Ancient aliens have invaded this space here.
ancient
Go ahead and
aliens
fix
have
that up.
invaded. Yeah, so go
Jack
ahead.
and I will talk a little bit more about sustainership. You know, $5 a month. That's $60 a year. That's not a whole lot. You're not going to miss that. It boils down to 16 cents per day. Where Jack is at $25 a month, 82 cents a day. Jack, do you miss 82 cents a day out of your pocket? No, I didn't think so.
No.
And I'm missing you on the air because I didn't turn your mic on.
No.
You know, the cool thing, one of the cool things about this radio station is it's real, it's live. It's you've got an idiot operator here behind the board, not Jack, but me. Anyway, let's get back to talking about sustainerships. $30 a month, a dollar a day, 365 days a year. It's a dollar a day. You're not going to miss a dollar a day. I became a sustainer this week because I want a brick. I've got something to say. And if you've got something to say, you can get yourself a brick, get an inscription on it. If you want to know what they look like, go to our website at kpft.org. It's right there on the front page. You will see the line of bricks, and some of the messages on there are very poignant. One of them is remembering a prisoner that was put to death by the Texas Department of Corrections that has his name on it in loving memory of, because prisoners have families too. Let's see. There's remembering spouses. There's a guy that had his wife memorialized on a brick to on KPFT's courtyard out there. So that's the really cool part about these memory bricks. You would really like them. There's one that has a radio on it. There's one that says "We love KPFT," the usual fare, but some of them are very poignant. And you can do this when you become a sustainer. I think it's $50 a month. Jack, is it $50 a month for sustainer for to get a brick?
You get the 8x8 brick, and you can have like 8 lines of 26 characters to get your message across.
I got a long message. I'm gonna have to get a cinder block for what I've got to say. We'll see how well that works out. But no, seriously, folks, uh, the thing is, this radio station does need your help. We come to you 4 times a year and say, we really need this much money to operate. $50,000 a month is what it takes to operate this radio station. We take care of the electric bills. We take care of the tower rental. We take care of the transmitter, the electricity going to the transmitter, the signal coming out of the transmitter. So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't know about when you operate a radio station. And a radio station is a very expensive project. And this was a very expensive project to bring you shows like Border Radio every afternoon. We depend on Susan Darrow, Sweetheart, love her. She brings you the best in Americana music. Sandy, Deadbeat, brings you, well, the Grateful Dead every Saturday. Stewart, 50 years after. These are all volunteer programmers. Nobody gets paid here. I get paid because I'm the only paid employee because they require it. But you look at that check and go, you're largely a volunteer, which is true. And Jack, I couldn't possibly do without Jack in the morning, you know, because
Y-
this man drives in from down
Baycliffe.
to Bay Cliff
Gal, I
every
call.
morning.
Can
Every
you guys
morning.
hear me now? I think it's
We can hear you now.
and I think we can also hear Neil, right, Neil? Let's make sure that you can be heard. Uh, uh Go
Well,
ahead.
Hello, hello.
Great. So we have the connection. Hey, look, guys, thank you for holding the fort down while we're here. Now, guys, give us a call, 713-526-5738. Before we get started with Harry, we're going to go ahead and ask Neil. Neil, tell me a little bit about what you're going to talk about. It has a lot to do with some stuff in the Chronicle as well as Races for Democracy. Talk to me.
Very good. So, my Houston Democracy Project blog and both these things are really connected to the primary. Written about Houston Chronicle. And Houston Chronicle's been doing their endorsements for the primary and been endorsing both Democrats and Republicans. My point is that the Chronicle shouldn't be endorsing Republican candidates who fail to distance themselves, election denial and insurrection. Silence about extreme or looking the other way at extremism is a form of extremism. And the Chronicle is normalizing people who will not accept results, who support insurrection, let alone things like Governor Abbott saying that he would shoot migrants if the if only because the Biden administration would prosecute him. That's the only reason he doesn't. So Republican candidates in the Chronicle should be interviewed. They believe Biden won the election fair and square. Where they stand on Trump's openly announced plans to civil liberties if back in office. What the Chronicle's doing is that, example, in Briscoe Cain's race, he's a state legislator down in the NASA area. They endorsed him, saying that his opponent was even further to the right than him. And then yesterday, Cain sent out a tweet saying that we should be Marxists, right? We should destroy Marxists. So while there are actually policy differences between Republican primary challengers, actually, and some of them might be reasonable and bipartisan is essential, um, we need to ask them that they at least support democracy. We're normalizing our own destruction. We're normalizing our own destruction.
Now, Neil, we still have that delay with a little bit of things here, but I want to ask you something because I think I asked you behind the scene whether you went ahead and retweeted Briscoe Cain's note. I mean, the Chronicle's endorsement, or retweeted his bad information and tagged the Houston Chronicle to say, "Hey, this is the kind of folks that you're endorsing, folks that are creating insurrectionists, folks that are endangering our lives." Because I tell you what, in the way our media works today, um, unless we hit these things as they happen, it's normalized. There was an article that came out recently that I don't recall who wrote the article. Actually, it wasn't an article. It was Clinton's old support strategist came out and said, we have to stop normalizing these kinds of behavior. We've normalized Trump so much so that the ineptitude becomes, oh, well, it's Trump. He can say whatever. Now he's talking about allowing Russia to invade NATO countries, etc. We've normalized it. So for the audience out there, whenever you see these crazy politicians, I don't care on what party, whenever they say something silly, highlight it and not normalize it, because that is the only way we're going to change things. Sorry to interrupt, Neil, but go ahead and continue with what you were saying. Um, yeah.
No, you're correct. And if you read the Chronicle editorials, they relentlessly tell you how pragmatic they are, and they tell you how centrist they are. And that pragmatism and centrism becomes a form of reaction itself. Things have moved so far to the right. Here we are discussing, should we have free election? Should we allow other countries to invade our allies? Can you imagine sacrifices of World War II and allow? We would encourage Russia to invade our allies. It's a desecration, and the Chronicle editorial better serve readers. Firm and unrelenting advocacy for democracy, pragmatic to pick one Trump supporter over the other, be encouraging readers to do all they can to defeat every Republican on the ballot, so long as the party remains democratic. And the Chronicle centrism and pragmatism have come as extreme and as reactive as any ideology on a political extreme, and they've lost the capacity really to look in the mirror.
I think it's important for us to say one thing. If you are going to have an editorial board that purports to advise the citizenry what best choice to make, one of our best choices is actually no choice. In other words, if you have two right wing dangerous people running, it is okay for an editorial page to say, as a pragmatic centrist paper that has no ideological bent, it is okay for us to not make an endorsement because we think neither one is qualified. We have to get, if we really want to protect our democracy, it is time for us to be bold and act accordingly. So, thank you for writing that blog and highlighting these endorsements and these two candidates, and bringing up the fact that we had this guy endorsed by the Chronicle, putting out information that can be inciting. That's important. You had a second blog on democracy. Let's hear about it.
Right. I want to, and I want to make sure it's any of them who won't disavow Trump at this point. I mean, some of them will tell you they're moderate. Julian Ramirez, for example, our city councilman, they'll tell you they're moderate, but they won't step back. They won't step back from the extremism. So it's not just the ones who are the furthest to the right. It's all of them at this point. And there's just a very few like Mitt Romney, who said, "I'll vote for Biden." And it's too bad we've been reduced to praising Mitt Romney. So one thing I've done with I've made 4 $25 donations to some separate Harris County Democratic primary candidates who I think reflect real clear choices in their race. The primary early voting is February 20th to the 29th. February 20th through March 1st, I think. And then election day is March 5th. So the primary is coming up. So think about that. Look for the ballot. And I supported Rosalind Caesar in House District 139, that seat that Jarvis Johnson is giving up. He's running for the Senate. Danny Norris in 142, state representative, that's Harold Dutton's seat. Did so much to facilitate the HISD takeover.
Yeah.
Allison Mathis running for a criminal court. Allison Mathis, who's running for a criminal court seat, number 338. And Fran Watson. Have you had Fran as a guest here?
I haven't had Fran, but Fran is a great lawyer. Fran is really she's been an activist on our beat for a very long time.
She's running for a probate court. Rosalind Caesar, Danny Norris, at this, Fran Watson, and I also the point before we talk about the DA race for a second. I also want to make the point that money frequently would be better spent not with campaigns, but with supporting things like KPFT and politics done right, supporting the Houston Democracy Project, making a donation to Indivisible Houston. We sometimes think that candidates are going to save us, and really what we should be doing is funding our own activism and our own and elected officials are rarely fully reliable allies. So I am supporting these candidates. Also, this pledge drive is a perfect way to empower ourselves. And I want to mention Sean Tier. That's the district attorney's race. Probably everyone listening here might well be supporting Sean Tier over him.
Actually, let me just correct.
Race. So
just correct that. Yeah, we have a delay. Actually, our listenership, including of this program, goes through. I mean, that's why we are influential in that we cover all bases. So it's a good thing that we have listeners that support just about every scope you can think of. But anyhow, we're having some. Let me just go ahead and ask you to. Yeah, go ahead and come back in again because the connection is really, really bad. So please come in and out again. Anyway, I have a big thank you to John. I don't know if I can say it. I think I can say the whole name. But I tell you what, let me pass it on to Sandy. Sandy is in the house, our general manager. Hey, Sandy, how you doing this morning? Sandy, are you there? I heard that you were here, Sandy. Sandy, where are you?
To get some coffee.
He stepped away for some coffee as we sent the.
I stepped away to get coffee and then I stepped back.
All right, talk to me, Sandy.
Good morning. You got to make sure all of your settings these days are right if you want to be heard.
Otherwise, you won't be heard. So
Tell me about it.
you've broken the ice this morning, and you can see that on your sheet there. I'm not sure I've got that yet recorded on this side of the internet, for lack
Hey,
of better words. Why don't you go ahead and thank that first pledge that just came in, Egberto? I
yeah,
think you
come
would.
on. Hey, John Litton, thank you very much for your support. He says, thanks to Roberto and crew for the morning show. Hey, I don't mind you calling me whatever you want to call me. It's Egberto, but Roberto will do. Roberto will do, but it's Egberto. Thank you so kindly, John. And you know what is the greatest thing that warms the heart, Sandy? He is a new contributor. And I
He
mean,
is.
that is lovely. So I want to tell you, John, that first of all, we will be prudent and frugal with your contribution, as Howard has told you. We Most of us, 99.999% of us, are just volunteers, and we have by law have to have, I think, one or two paid employees. I don't remember that. And Howard, who really is on 24/7, is the one who has that honor. But I mean, it's just a very small honor. So anyway, folks, continue to call 713-526-5738, extension number 1, to contribute to the program. We cannot do this without you. Let me swing it right back to Sandy. Sandy, come on in.
Thank you very much, Egberto. This is a really fine effort every morning by Jack and Howard and yourself, getting up early and inviting these phone calls and carrying on a very salient, intelligent conversation with people when they call in about their views. They may not agree with you, but they get a chance to air those comments and have that discussion. It encapsulates KPFT, community radio for Houston. Discussion, good music to listen to that might take you to a better place. All kinds of shows and people from our community presenting material in a way that's unlike any other station. We're not commercial. We do rely on these donations, and it makes a huge difference in the way the content is presented and the very content that that's chosen to air by our volunteers, such as Egberto. So join in here this morning. Don't hesitate. If you haven't pledged before, please be like John from Houston and be a new member, because you've got to be radioactive to keep KPFT. It's as simple as that. We are very frugal. And Howard's right. You look at, quote, the paycheck and you go, where's the meat? It's not there. We just can't afford to pay that much. But the FCC says one full-time employee. That's Howard. And oh boy, without Howard, no KPFT. In fact, each volunteer, each member of the staff, what some people choose to call management, well, if any one of those people were to disappear, KPFT would be hard pressed to stay on the air. This comes at you every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, gets into your ears, because behind the scenes, there are many people working very hard to make sure it happens, including the host of this program, Egberto Willies. So honor those commitments and please support what you like, which I hope is KPFT, with your phone call, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. And remember, for a $120 pledge, you get a bag of beans and a Caroline mug to go with it. Pound of the Colombian Supremo blended beans from Lola Savannah will be at your doorstep along with a mug. But make that call. It makes a difference. 713-526-5738, option 1. Egberto?
Yeah, we definitely cannot do it without you. I think you came back in, Neil. Let me just make sure that we got you connected fine. Did you have anything else to add to your second blog that we discussed?
No, let me so let me correct myself. I think anyone voting in the Democratic primary among listeners is probably voting for Chartier, and then there are the other listeners as well. Just to donating to KPFT to Egberto is a perfect way to your activism and viewpoints in addition to voting, and both things in and outside of established ways that we think about approaching activism and voting are needed, and a lot of care and work goes into the show and the production crew, and it's well worth the donation.
Thank you so kindly, Neil. Let me just say that, folks, we had several videos to show today, but because we had a shaky start, every now and then, as Howard would say, the tin cans don't connect as they should. We kind of got a bit delayed, but our newsletter, as usual, at politicsandright.com/newsletter has all the videos that we were going to play on air today. And likewise, we have a special mention, a tribute to the one and only Jack Beber with a TikTok that he did, with some stuff that he said yesterday that was TikTokable. And I told him, I said, man, that is a TikTokable statement. So check it out on the newsletter. Anyway, let's go ahead and go to El Senor Harry. Harry, give me a quick one here today. We are a bit behind, so we can't stay too long. Come on, Harry, talk to me.
Good morning to the whole panel. Good morning to Howard, Jack, and Neil Aquino. And I like this topic of those politicians going further to the right. And good morning to El Senor Professor Egberto Willis. And I love all you guys too. And you're going to be getting my contribution next week. So thank you for giving your kudos to me. And I just, my mind is not working fast like I want it to work. It's so early in the morning. But I just want to say that KPFT, again, is an educational show. It has a bunch of educational shows, Politics Done Right. And it also has You Talk. And there are certain things that I want to talk about, what I'll talk about in the future, because some of these topics are sensitive, and I don't want people to take them the wrong way. And the science that I was talking to Howard about why Black people are melanin efficient and why people who aren't as melanin efficient. I wanted to talk about the science about that, but I know, Egberto, you understand that science, and I'll talk about that on a future show with you.
All right, no problem, Harry. Got to go, but thank you so kindly. We want whenever we see Harry online, you're a part of the family. We want to make sure to get you on air, but we got to move on because we have to go ahead. Okay, thank you, my brother. You have
I'll call Howard on the business line about some more songs. So
thank you, brother. You have a wonderful day, Harry. Thank you, my brother. Love you. All right. Anyway, we gotta continue here. Let me just say this, folks. There's a lot of news going on right now, and like I said, the video is too long for me to put out there now. But what I do want is to talk a little bit about what one of the videos was about, and it had to do with Representative Charlie Dent. Charlie Dent is a Republican. He's a moderate Republican that came out and pointed out how dangerous the statement was that Donald Trump made about NATO. And people take some of this stuff lightly. Oh, it's just Trump saying it, etc. I want to ask all of you to not just listen to me at KPFT or listen to MSNBC, CNN, or Fox News or whatever. At some time, please, it is my responsibility. I feel since a lot of papers and newspapers are not doing it, it is my responsibility to tell you these are serious issues that ultimately will affect you. One of the things that have occurred, the invasion of Ukraine, what Israel is doing in Gaza, all these things also are partially responsible from our policies. And whatever policies we have, foreign or domestic, affects you. So it is imperative that you are in the know. This thing that Donald Trump did with NATO is a dangerous thing. And if you read newspapers outside of the United States, and here I said this again, Channel 4 and Pan America, or all these different newspapers from around the world, you see the danger and how just a statement like what Donald Trump said can realign the world and endanger us. The world gets realigned if what they thought was their pole is no longer their pole. America, like it or not, has been the pole mostly benevolent for the world. A multipolar world is a good thing, but if one of the poles won't get you killed, people, we have to be aware of what's going on. We'll cover some of this in more detail later on. I want to go to Tag. Come on in, brother Tag. Let's hear your voice.
Can I make, let me,
Go ahead, comment while we get Tag in. Real quick.
and I apologize, Tag. Thank you. And this is a show of peace, but I do want to make the point. My father was a Korean War
Tag didn't
veteran.
want to
He
talk.
took some pride in. He wasn't militaristic, but he took some pride in the fact that he had brought some democracy to South Korea. You see Trump openly cavorting with North Korean dictator. He thinks it's a joke. He thinks it's funny. My father torched a significant portion of his life because of his Korean War service, and this is such a disrespect to the sacrifice that so many people made. And I just have to comment. It's just infuriating, and that people would go with this.
Thank you for that, Neil. Very important, and thanks your father for that great service. Tag, come on in, my brother.
No, Tag just wanted to talk to me this morning. He didn't
Oh,
want to talk to
okay.
you.
Oh, he doesn't want to talk to me. I am so hurt. I
Okay,
am
well,
so.
Tag, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here yet.
Okay, we'll go ahead and talk to Egberto for a minute. He's going to get his feelings hurt if you don't talk to him.
No, and I think it's important to convey. I talked to Steve Hunter yesterday, and there was a little conversation about what happened in Michigan. And what happened in Michigan is that the people voted to redistrict, and when that happened, the gerrymandering went away, and we turned the state blue. So I think that what's necessary in a lot of states are to, put redistricting up to the vote and see if people want to get away from all this gerrymandering. So we didn't gain any districts. We kind of touched on that yesterday, but we turned a lot of districts blue, which put Democrats in power in Michigan, which I think is very important. It's the reason why Texas is still red. It's the reason many states are red is because of the gerrymandering. So we need to get away from that. We want to have a free nation.
Exactly right. And go ahead, Tag.
No, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Tag. I appreciate that statement. Anyway, folks, I got to pitch real quick again because we only have one contributor so far, John. And thank you so kindly, John, for your most kind contribution. Folks, give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Folks, let me say this. We, as Howard said before, we don't like coming and spending this time asking for contributions to keep the station afloat, but it's the only thing. Your contributions are the only thing that keeps this station on air. And those of you who enjoy both the news program, the opinion programs, the eclectic music, we do a lot of things here at KPFT. Those of you who enjoy it, those of you who see this as an asset, I ask you kindly to please invest in it. We here on my program, our program, we speak a lot about corporatocracy and how can they have amassed that much power? How can they amass all that power to keep us indoctrinated in such a manner that we are not well informed? Many a times we pay for our own misinformation. We pay for our own indoctrination. When you pay your cable bill every single month without end, when you pay your bill, many times $100 a month, $200 a month, $300 a month, you pay your cable bill without stop, right? And many of the stations on that are either there as entertainment, but many are there giving you misinformation. Even some of your entertainment channels, the commercials that many politicians, the ads that many politicians put on those airwaves while you're sedentarily listening to your show, many a times they're there misinforming you. We are asking one thing that is very, very simple and special. Can you allocate so few of those dollars to a station who, by design, has your interest at hand? And I'm not just saying that. You hear that. You know that. You're a participant in that. When Tag or Amy or Liz or Johnny or Patrick or Brian or Joe, all these people from every ideological spectrum call into our show because they know it is their platform. You know this is your platform. In as much as I'm the host of the show, as much as I'm the unpaid host of the show, you have a platform, but all of us together has to keep this platform going. I am a contributor. I've been a supporter of KPFT for decades, from before I became an engineer at KPFT, from before I was honored to get a spot at KPFT, from before I was honored to be on daily. I was always a supporter and promoter. As we travel around the country with the different conferences that I attend, there is a KPFT banner. That's why you notice we have listeners from every state, countries, etc. Because we are, those of us that are volunteers here are walking billboards for KPFT because we know the value in having independence. We know the value. So I ask you kindly to please call 713-526-5738 and say, I'm going to do my part to make sure we can stay on air. I will do my part to make sure this station becomes or remain funded. So many people sacrifice so much to make sure we can do that. I'm going to pause here and go to Brother Brian on the air. Brian, how are you doing this morning, my brother?
Doing fine.
Talk to me, sir.
Okay, here's 3 easy ways for young kids to succeed in the United States. Very simple. The first is easiest, cheapest, graduate from high school. The state pays for it, the county pays for it, your parents, they bring you to, carry you down, do everything you want. Second thing is, don't have 3 children by the time you're 20. I think the average child costs $250,000, $300,000. So don't do that. The third, you don't have to go to college. You can join the military. The military pays for the college if you want to. You free health care if you want to have children. That's the simplest 3 ways to succeed in the United States.
Thank you.
That's all
Thank you for your advice, Brian. And I think the entire listenership and internetship heard your statement. Thank you, Brian, for being here. And Brian also is a great supporter. Thank you, brother. You have a great one. Anyway, folks, 713. Thank you, brother. 713-526-5738. Extension number 1. I'm going to throw it to Sandy if he's still in the office to kind of help us out. Much better picture than I am. Well, I don't hear Sandy, so maybe Sandy is not in the house. So
I think Sandy is enjoying some of that Lola Savannah coffee out
Yeah,
of his EFT mug.
every time I say passing the torch to Sandy, he goes ahead and get coffee.
Yeah,
You know?
well, because he's at the coffee pot right now, and he probably is. So we can,
All right.
you and I, until Sandy joins us, you and I can talk about sustainerships.
Yeah, tell me about sustainers.
Cost per day. What it costs per day. Look, $5 per month is 16 cents a day. I mean, that's ridiculously low. You can't even feed a dog on that. They require 63 cents a day. $10 a month, 33 cents a day. That's it. 33 cents a day to power a 100,000 watt radio station. That's your part. $20 a month. That's what? 66 cents a day. Man, you can't get a better deal than that. You get Egberto, you get all of my technical faux pas, you get you get a bunch of crazy stuff, and it's just the best deal on the dial. You can't beat it. And the truth comes through the speakers every morning with Egberto. You get a chance to talk about things that are important to you with you talking Steve Hunter. You get to listen to folks like Clint Broussard, he's just the best. He is. And here, let me turn your mic on, check. Uh, he's just the
Awesome.
best. Clint Broussard is the best. I mean, he beats my show by a country mile. So when you get music shows that you like, that these people have curated, experts in music and know what they're doing for this little, this is not bad at all. This is a
No,
good
it is.
deal.
No, it isn't. Neil Aquino, let's get Neil Aquino a bit in here. Neil, give us some of your thoughts. I mean, I know it's a fun drive. It's a fun drive day, so we didn't get a lot of as much as Neil as we'd like to get. So give me a few comments, Neil.
Well, that's very kind. I just want to add to the pitch. I'm lucky enough to be here Thursdays, and this type of work requires it requires people to contribute. It requires people to donate, and the care that goes into the show, Egberto's preparation, the studio, the amount of skill that goes into that is really substantial. And this kind of activism, this kind of alternative structure, really requires it requires help, and the foundation is led.
Thank you very much, Neil. I'm going to jump to Patrick for 45 seconds because we still need to raise some quick money. But Patrick, come on in, my brother. Talk to me.
Good morning. I'll make it real fast. I'd like to point out that we're arguing as far as presidential candidates about who's further into cognitive decline. When we're having conversations like that, I think it highlights the fact that we don't really have good choices.
Look, Patrick, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Next, well, we're talking about immigration a lot, and the Republican Party brings it up the most. Depending on the cycle and depending on headlines, between 15 and 30% of them identify as a libertarian. Libertarians don't believe in borders because they'd like to have migrant workers crossing the border to keep wages down. So if you are supporting Republicans because they say they're going to be tough on immigration, you need to realize 15 to 30% of them don't even want to have border security.
Thank you, Patrick, for calling in. Go ahead. Real quick.
No. You gave me 45 seconds. Go ahead. I'll call back again.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate it. Let me throw it to Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Well, here we are. John's contributed this morning, and we thank John. He stands alone. Don't let John stand alone. Howard's right. You know, you pay for your cable bill, and I'm just going to stop on that one thing for a moment. Like many other households in the household where I am, yeah, we got cable. And when I turn that on, I often wonder what I'm paying for. The right to see commercials is what it appears most of the time. And the amount of filler on the 247,000 channels offered is astounding. TV shows from the 1950s, punctuated with 10 minutes of commercials on breaks. It's kind of absurd if you stand back and take the 10,000-foot view. KPFT has survived. It'll be 54 years old on March 1st. It has survived on listener donations, not commercial dollars. What that means is that the information, the music, everything you hear is unfettered. It comes from the heart and the mind of the volunteers such as Egberto. And KPFT provides that channel, that opportunity, that facility to make sure that you're hearing everything every day when you turn it on. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Clicking donate is how you support the station. Right now, we're about $160 short of our morning goal. A couple of you chiming in at a reasonable level, say, $10 a month. and we will be past the goal. If you can do $5 a month, if you can be a sustaining membership, open up your wallet, open up your credit card and say, KPFT, here's $5, here's $10 every month. And it's just going to go like that until I decide, well, I don't want to do it no more. That's a sustainer. I had a gentleman call me yesterday, one of our major supporters. He said, I contributed last year. I want to re-up. He got a brick. He's a sustainer. I said, there's no need. You're good to go.
Yeah, I
Long as
mean,
the credit number is good or the bank account's good, we'll keep receiving the funds. Very important. Go ahead, Egberto.
Yeah, I mean that is so true. And something that you said that I wanted to pick up on, Sandy. You said, people pay a lot of money for their cable bill, which is true. Imagine this. You are paying your cable bill so that many corporations pay the same company that you're paying your cable bill for to use your eyes to advertise. So you are paying to be advertised to. When you get MSNBC, you pay for MSNBC, you pay for CNN, and advertisers then pay that same cable company to do what again? To get your eyeballs. Folks, by the way, welcome Mike Steck, welcome Eric Hayes, and to the chat. So it's so important, folks, to support the program. So please call 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. Kpft.org. As Sandy said, there's $100 contributions, and you can pay that over time. Gives you the Politics Done Right T-shirt with the KPFT logo on it. $5 a month. A coffee a month for KPFT, you don't even miss that. $10 a month, you don't even miss that. $20 a month, maybe you don't miss that. $25 a month. Look, our brick, $25 a month, and you put your name and your insignia on the brick. That's a 4x4 brick. A $50 contribution a month gives you an 8x8 brick that you can use. Did somebody want to say something? I heard somebody coming in.
Yeah, that was me. It's a 4x8 brick. There are 4 lines, I think, with 26 characters each for which you can write the limerick. On the larger one, there's 8 lines.
Got it.
Myself, I do the $50 a month brick, and it's a good way to contribute to KPFT. Go ahead, Egberto.
Yeah. So yeah, please. I messed up. It's 4x8 and 8x8. Sorry about that. Anyway, guys, or remember, Coffee with Egberto, $250. I promise you a good time as we sit down and chat and have some coffee. A few people have taken advantage of that, and you know what? We've had fun. In fact, one of them recently invited me to yet another function to go ahead. And so, I mean, look, like I said, we are a community here at KPFT. And the fact that you're listening to KPFT makes you a part of this community. So what we're asking you is be a part as well to help us out a bit. You pay your cable bill. I know you wouldn't mind doing the good thing and saying, I want to be a part of keeping KPFT alive, to keep KPFT on air. $5 a month, $10 a month. You don't feel that, but we feel it. Your $5 a month is just a coffee that you say, I'm going to buy them a coffee a month. Your $10 a month, I get them a couple coffees a month. You don't feel that. But you know who feels that? We do, because if we can get thousands of people doing that, eventually we can stop this. 713-526-573. Guys, I also hate fund drives. I promise you that. But it's something that I have to do. We have to do to stay on air. Don't you think I much prefer talking about our elections and what we expect to happen in 2024? And yeah, those of you who listen to the show know that is the passion, that is our activism, that is our movement. But we all, to be able to continue doing that, we have to be able to have these airwaves, and we can only have that with your support. 713-526-573. We're almost done here, so I'm going to throw it back to the studio, and then I'm going to ask Neil to give a 15 seconds closer. Go ahead, studio.
Nothing from me, just support KPFT and make sure throughout the day that you listen to us for music and entertainment, and be a supporter of KPFT and a sustainer too. Jack, you got anything?
Well,
yeah, he's got something.
We're also partnering with the Man of Food Pantry, so we're taking food donations up here at the station all day. So please come by and drop off some food for the Man of Food Bank.
Thank you, Jack.
Sandy?
Back to you.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
very quickly, support Egberto. He's a volunteer. He gets up in the morning and does it. Support KPFT with your call. Come on, folks. Let's get this thing funded, get this fund drive over with. We're starting week 2. We're getting toward the middle of the center. 713-526-5738 or kpft.org. Just do it.
Neil, give me your 15-second closer.
Very good. Please contribute to Egberto's excellent program. My content can be at HoustonDemocracyProject.com, and early voting in the primary begins February 20th. Be involved in many different ways.
Thank you so kindly, Neil. Folks, we cannot do this without you. 713, you still have time. You still have time. And even throughout the day, just make sure to select Politics Done Right if you go to kpft.org with your contribution, or if you call in to the station at 713-526-5738, extension 1, tell them your support is in the name of Politics Done Right. Anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willis. Love you all. Thank you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this, baby. I am what? Out.
You're listening